Hi, I'm Nancy Kaufman, and I want to introduce you to my new product, the What's in Your Doghouse therapy game. So this is the cover of the box, and those of you that know the K-SLP methods or materials, this is another way to help children to produce a core vocabulary of nouns, to use pivot phrases, and also to use some interactional language with other children, because this can be a therapy game used with a group. The way that I'm going to explain it, though, is just as though I'm working with one child. So these are the things that it contains. We have our dog houses of different colors. They come with some stickers of the different mutt characters, and the mutt characters have two-syllable names such as Betty, Mona, Toby, Patty, and others, so that children who struggle to speak can produce those names, which are simple bisyllabics for the most part, and use them as subjects when they're talking about those different characters. And in this case, we're going to work on a core vocabulary of nouns. So we need to load the dog houses with a token, and these are the tokens that are of the simple common nouns. So these are pants, or cookie, it might be a dress, or a teddy bear. Most of the tokens contain simple nouns that follow Kit 1, the very simple consonant-vowel combinations, but some of them have more complex combinations, like the word dress. And in the K-SLP methods, what we do is simplify the motor plan of words according to what the child's best approximation could be, just short of failure. And we're also going to help those children to reach perfection of the articulation of all of these common nouns. We're also going to use some pivot phrases so that the child can use a phrase that stays constant, like I want to open, or I want to open and then just add a color. It depends on their goals, because this game can work for children that need to work on pivot words and phrases, common nouns, the language of games, and as you're going to see in a video that I produced to show how this game was played with a child that I had on my caseload, some more specific goals that include grammar. For example, final S and Z that we can then push into plurals and possessive pronouns and even third-person singular verbs. So there are many ways to use this game. There's also a way to use it for short-term memory, visual memory, and I'm going to show you that as well. So it comes with 6 game boards, and you only have to use one with one child, or the child can have a game board and you as the SLP can have a game board, so that you're doing 2 boards, or it depends on how many children are in the group, but you can do up to 6 game boards. They all have a theme. So this one's the beach theme, but there's also outer space, and the zoo, the farm, at the pool, and camping. So some of the children may have a preference as to which board they might want to use. So I'm going to use the one that's about the beach. And each board either has pictures on one side of it so the children can do some visual matching once they take out one of the tokens, or if you want to work on more literacy, the opposite side just has the words for children that are working on recognizing common nouns for literacy purposes. All right, so for this child, he needs the pictures. We're going to make sure that he has that side of the board. And then you, of course, decide who gets to go first, however you decide to do that. Now, I like to load, you have to do some organizing before the child walks in. So I like to organize the tokens by theme. So I've taken some just regular little baggies, and for example, this one I labeled as the zoo, and I put all the tokens that match the zoo in this particular bag. It just makes it easier to organize for each child. If you're going to be playing with a group, you don't really need to organize them because you're just going to load up the houses randomly. But I want to make sure that each of these houses has a token that matches the beach. And there are also 2 tokens that don't match at all. One is fish bones and the other one is a tire. So of course they might choose that and then it doesn't match at all. And it would make it even more interesting if you placed some more tokens into this array that actually go with different boards. so that they don't match. But we can talk about each of those nouns as well. Describe them, talk about that we don't need them. There's advanced ways of playing the game too, and I'll show you how that works. So I might say, I want to open, and then it's Dottie's yellow house. Now I can just say I want to open a house. I might just say open. It depends on what level the child is at. So I'm pretending that I'm the child, of course. And oh my goodness, I got fish bones, and they don't match. So I'm going to put them back in the house, close it up, and for some children, you want to put it down exactly where you picked it up. For others, you can tease around by mixing them through. Now, they may remember that it's yellow, and that's going to help them to remember not to pick that yellow one because it's got the fish bones. But also, you could even put empty houses in the array, and then it's funny because the child picks one. They might start realizing that they can shake it and figure out if there's something in there or not. I want to open blue. This is Bobby's house. I got a boat, and I need a boat. And then we match it up. If the child's working on higher levels of grammar, then you might be working on pronouns. So it would be Moppy has the boat, so he is holding his boat. For the child that I'm going to show you, he's working on final S and Z. So we're going to push in this is phrasing. We're going to push in he is holding his boat. So we've got the final Z on is. We've got the final Z on his. He also needed to work on back to front, meaning velar to alveolar word types. And so the word got is going to be within his phrases. So I got a. If the children are working on articles, then you're going to push in the articles. And there are maybe some target words that are highly, they're high frequency words for a particular child that you can push into the game as well. All right, so now this is an empty box, this is an empty house, I'm sorry, and we have to decide if we're going to close it up and keep it in the array or just keep it out of the game entirely. And there's so many different ways to do this. Another way that is advanced is if the child chooses a doghouse and the token does not match anything on their board. They can put it on the top of their board, which has 3 different places of which to put tokens that don't match, and leave them there. At the end of the game, if there's no winner, then each child can ask a friend if they can have their token that matches their board, or they could trade. I'll give you my boat if you give me your apple. So there are all sorts of different ways to make this social, interactive, fun, and using more skills than just speech, motor, and expressive language, so that we want to use the language of games as well. I'm winning, you're winning, I need that one, I don't need that one, and all sorts of things like that. So I hope that you enjoy the What's in Your Doghouse therapy game with the Mutt family and the K-SLP methods.